Okay, so hello. My name is Raymond, New York Times top 10 best-selling author. I've written a couple chicken soup books only because I'm in love with this wonderful man, Jack Canfield, who co-created the entire series and gave me the honor to write two such books. So Jack, hello, welcome.
Thank you.
And we're doing something very special in January 2018. I have never done it before. It's a private, closed-door, small-person, 18-person mastermind with you and me and 18 eager entrepreneurs wanting to go to the next level. And I know that when I'm together with you and a couple other powerful people, I skyrocket in my wisdom, I get insights. You have told me many times you got the insight to hire Lisa for your director of online marketing for one of those little masterminds that we did.
That's right.
Which has taken your business to a higher level.
It totally revolutionized it.
And so I want to bring that, not to all my clients, but to 18. Just to 18. And you know it's called the C.L.I.M.B. And you're my superstar expert guest. We're both going to be working to help my clients. What is it that you really, really want to get across to them?
Well, I think it's a rare an opportunity for 18 people to get to spend a day, 3 days, 4 days with you and me. And, you know, I'll be there for a full day working with everybody in a mastermind framework, which is not just me talking at people. That's all available in books and tapes and things like that and other seminars we do. But to do a few really deep transformative processes to begin the day and then work with people in a more conversational coaching, masterminding process to take their next step. What does that next step look like? And how can I help them figure out the blocks that they can remove? And also to look at what are some steps that they can take based on my experience of creating, you know, a multi-tens of millions of dollars lifestyle, sold 500 million books, have spoken in over 50 countries, have trainers that we now have trained in 1,600 trainers in 90 countries and so forth.
Wow.
So, you know, I've created super success, and there's a series of principles and strategies behind that I rarely get to share at the level of depth that we do. Very few people ever have access to me or you in such a small
for
group.
A whole day.
Yeah. And for you for several days. So it's like the combination, we've always worked really well together, kind of a, you know, one, was it left, right hook kind of thing. And so I'm really excited about it.
It should be good. Now, you mentioned blocks, and that's what I particularly wanted to talk about, because you and I know that we can teach great principles.
Yes.
And people in the audience can legitimately understand it and write it down.
Yes.
And it doesn't happen in their life. Because they might have a thing that holds them back. They have low self-esteem, fear of something or other.
And usually it's unconscious. That's the problem.
Yes, that's the problem.
There are unconscious limiting beliefs. There's unconscious, they're counter drives. You know, just to give you an example, when I work with women that are obese, they start to lose weight, something sabotages it. And what we find out usually is they had some kind of sexual abuse as a child, where getting sexy and attractive again is scary.
Oh.
And so basically there's a part of them that wants to get sexy and attractive now that they're an adult, but that inner child is afraid of being abused again or raped again or whatever. So the same is true I've worked with literally thousands of people, helping them identify and bring to consciousness these limiting beliefs. They're normally created, Raymond, between the ages of 3 and 8. Mm-hmm. And then we make a decision to protect ourselves from ever having to experience that again, being humiliated, being teased, being made fun of, being isolated, bullied, not loved, whatever it is. I mean, I was just watching a video last night of these kids who were part of a cult, who the parents sometimes wouldn't feed them for a week if they were bad, a week. And so then you wonder, what does that do to you as an adult? And so the reality is we've all made decisions and then forgot we made them.
And the interesting thing is, those decisions were correct decisions
to
solve the problem at that time.
Exactly.
Then you grew up.
Right.
And you forgot to undo that decision.
Exactly. It's like if you saw someone walking down the street and they had on flippers and a wetsuit and tanks and a mask and fins and they look like they're Aquaman underwater. That makes sense if you're underwater.
Yes.
But when you come out on dry land, you look really foolish, you know?
Exactly.
And so a lot of us are walking around like that. We don't even realize that that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
I always say to people, if you were getting on a plane and you saw a 6-year-old pilot coming on the plane, you know, got the little stripes, he's 6 years old and he gets in the pilot seat, how would you feel? And most people go, not too good. And
that's a brilliant analogy. analogy.
We're walking around letting a 6-year-old pilot our life, and we don't even know we're doing it. Sometimes there's 3 or 4 of those decisions that we've made, you know?
I've never heard it explained like that.
Oh, thank you.
I wouldn't let a 6-year-old pilot my life.
Right.
But we are.
Exactly. Sometimes there's a 6-year-old, an 8-year-old, and an 11-year-old. They're all fighting over who's in control. Yeah.
And they are in control, each one at different times.
Well, what we know, for example, is that your subconscious or unconscious mind, you can call it either one, is like 85% of your mind. Conscious is 15%. So your conscious mind says, you know, New Year's resolutions, you go to seminars, you make goals, you set intentions, and then you've got 85% of your subconscious mind going, no way. Now, if we have 15 horses pulling this way and 85 horses pulling that way, 85 are going to win all the time. So until we go down and turn these horses around so that they're supporting the intentions, you're never going to win. And that's why we see people over and over and over and over have a barrier to how much money they can make, how much fun they can have, how much free time they're allowed to have, you know, how intimate and safe they feel in relationships, how much impact they can have in the world. All of that is blocked by these subconscious counter drives that made sense. They were survival oriented, as you said, but now they need to be redirected. And a lot of us have an inner critic, which also says, don't do that, you're not good enough, you're not. We have to turn the inner critic into an inner coach, and so there's techniques for doing that as well.
And when you and I teach to a large group, to 500, to several thousand, they do learn a lot, and they get uplifted, and that alone is enough to bring them to another level and get progress. But the block is the big thing,
Right.
and only one-on-one or one-on-few can we clobber those.
Yes, really, and like we can do some things in a mass group, but it's like any time, it's like a shotgun approach, you know, it's like, you know, maybe 50% of the people might have some small step forward, but when we can do a series of things in a row with people that is specifically aimed at their specific block,
Yes.
as opposed to a shotgun general approach, so we don't want to put down that, but the value of a small group, it's like we all know that one-on-one coaching, you know, was where the rubber meets the road as opposed to large group teaching. And so basically this is just an opportunity to do that with, I'm gonna be humble and say 2 masters.
And the climb is where it's at. We may never do it again. We're doing it this time.
Right?
And if they're in, they're in. If they're not, they're not. And it's going to be a mind blower.
Well, I would say to those of you who are watching this, there's only 3 things that change your future. You know, most people keep doing the same thing over and over, and they call it being stuck. They're not being stuck. They're just doing the same thing and creating the same thing over and over and over and over. And the only thing that changes that are the thoughts you think, which include your beliefs, which we just talked about, your intentions, and your images, and then the decisions you make and the actions you take. So if you can think a new thought about this and decide to take an action and make that action, literally I promise you after the seminar, it's in January, right?
Yes, January 2018.
What a great way to start a new year. I mean, literally that next year could be the best year of your life, and you look back and go, that's when everything changed.
The climb.